I always used to stare at this picture that was on a wall at my grandmother's house. Lawrence McCullough, my grandfather. I would think to myself, wow, he seems like such a friendly man. This is a picture of my dad and I when I was first born in Atlanta, Georgia. I went on to be a journalist, and that's why my dad was not surprised when I approached him with the idea of going to Ore City and doing some hands-on research about my grandfather. So we went to Upshur County, where my grandfather was born, in Ore City. We looked at deeds and records, trying to find records of where he was born, where he lived, who his parents were. We asked many people questions about what they might know. Then, in the tradition of my late great uncle Walter McCullough, I decided to do some research myself. I went on Ancestry.com. One of the first things I found was a 1920 United States Federal Census record for Joe McCullough, Grandpa's father. And it was for, of course, the state of Texas, Kaufman County, in District 0028. And under it, you can see his name highlighted in yellow. And under it is great grandmother Lenny's name, and then great uncle Goldman's name, great uncle Coleman's name, and then Grandpa Lawrence, and then it lists great uncle Matthew right there. This document shows text of the census records from 1920, and the household members at that time were Joe McCullough, and his age was 34, Lenny McCullough, 32, Goldman McCullough, age 9, Coleman McCullough, age 6, Lawrence McCullough, age 3 and 4 months, and Matthew McCullough, age 2. Great grandmother Lenny and grandfather Joseph went on to have 9 children. They had Goldman, Coleman, Lawrence, Louise, Laurie, Matthew, Alan, Ruth, and Anderson. And I found also something very curious. Uncle Walter, before he passed, had compiled some family information in a book. And I found some great information online about great grandfather Joseph. And I found out that his grandmother, Hannah Kirk, was actually a slave. And I was able to compare my research to Uncle Walter's and found that we had found the same thing. And I want to read what he found, which is also what I was able to come up with. The text reads, The History of the McCullough Family by Walter M. McCullough. Louisa McCullough was born in Georgia in 1859. In 1900, she was 45 years old and a widow. In her household in Marion County Precinct Number 6 lived oldest son James, 26, Henry, 22, with a daughter named Addie, 16, Joseph, 14, Matthew, 12. Her mother, Hannah Kirk, 80, lived with her also, along with 2 of her nephews, Dave Jones, age 5, and Louis Jones, age 2. Louisa's mother, Hannah Kirk, was born in Alabama. By the time Joseph McCullough turned 24, he had been married to Lenny Anderson for 2 years. In 1900, they were living in Harrison County, Texas, less than a couple of miles up the road from Marion County. Lenny Anderson's parents were John and Ella Anderson of Marion County. The Andersons had 7 children. The oldest was Alan, a 17-year-old boy, was born in October 1882. The rest of the children were females. May 16, August 14, Lenny 12, born in March 1887. There's also records she was born in 1888. Fanny 10, Alden 5, and Lottie 2. The Anderson family was born in Texas and raised there. The McCullough family, Joseph and Lenny McCullough, moved to Terrell, Texas into the Stalin edition. What an amazing find. I saw it as confirmation in his blessing. My Uncle Lawrence went with us on the excursion to search and find information on our family. And of course, he was a wealth of information. And one thing that he did was interview our Aunt Lily Mae, who was married to one of my great uncles. And he had a funny interview with her because she had a lot to share about the Joseph McCullough family.
I want everybody to meet one of our matriarchs here, senior aunts. That's Aunt Lily Mae McCullough Hogan. That's Diana's mother. I think most of you are going to know that. Maybe some of the second, third, and fourth generations might not know that. But we're sitting in our house, and she's sitting in her favorite chair here that she's always in, chilling. You know what I'm saying? And I thought I'd come over and try to get her to share a few moments with me and a few things about the McCullough brothers and Daddy. So I was over one day, I think a couple of days ago, and she told me something really funny that I want her to share with everybody else. But what I didn't know was when Aunt Lily Mae and Uncle Mac got married. So my understanding, you got married in 1950, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You got married in 1950. And tell us how you met Uncle Mac.
I met Mac. He was brought my uncle John Simmons to LaGrange to be buried. And actually I met him in the cemetery. And he started talking to my oldest sister. But my oldest sister said, now I'm too old for you. I'm going to let you meet my sister. And that's how I met him in the cemetery.
Okay. He came down from Terrell with one of your uncles.
No, he brought him down to be buried.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I
he
see.
was working for Dubose.
Oh, I see. Now I'm straight on that. He was working
And
for...
that's why I met him at.
Yeah,
in the cemetery.
okay.
And we started from there, writing letters, and that's about all we could do.
Uh-huh. And had you ever been to Terrell prior to
No.
meeting Mac? You never had been...
No.
So therefore, you hadn't even met his parents?
No. First time I met when we got married.
When you got married. Okay, that's real cool.
Yeah.
Now, I tell you, you told me this little funny thing about when you and Mac was communicating with by mail, and that's what you did back in the day, right? It wasn't no cell phones and none of that stuff like that. And I think Grandmama had got into one of Mac's letters from you, and y'all had already arranged, my understanding, a wedding date. You were basically engaged, is that right?
Right.
Okay, and tell us what happened after she had got into that envelope, that piece of mail that Mac had, that you had sent to Mac.
She said she steamed it with some water and glued it back up, and he never knew that she had read the letter.
Oh, she got slick with it.
Yeah.
She had steamed it, opened up the man's mail. Okay.
Every letter that came in from LaGrange, she would open it.
Okay.
So she had all the business.
Okay, she knew all y'all been.
Yeah, so Mac couldn't do nothing but drop his head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the day that y'all were getting married, it was you shared a little story with us. I thought it was so funny. She had got into that piece of mail only to find out that Mac was thinking about getting married. Mm-hmm. And tell us about this packing the suitcase.
She already had packed her suitcase, and she told Lawrence to pack his suitcase because Mac was leaving that Saturday, going to LaGrange to get married.
Okay.
And so Lawrence had his suitcase and everything packed. They was waiting for him to come in to pick his up. When he came in to pick his up, they all had packed theirs.
Okay. So Daddy and Grandmama had packed up.
Yeah.
And Mac didn't even know it.
No.
Oh my God,
And when
really?
he packed up to walk out, Grandmama said, "Well, I'm going too."
Oh my God, is that right?
That's how
And
she found out.
they all drove to LaGrange.
Yeah, they just Lawrence and his mother.
Oh, okay. This was in 1950. What day did y'all get married, Aunt Lily Mae?
On January the 5th, I think it was.
I think it was the 5th.
Oh, when we got married?
Yeah,
Okay, it's on here. January the 15th, 1950.
January 15, 1950. And so they took off and went to LaGrange, and y'all came back to Terrell that
Right.
same day.
The same night. Well, they got down to LaGrange about 2,
Mm-hmm.
and we married about 5.
Mm-hmm.
Had a in the yard wedding.
Mm-hmm.
We married by lights. wasn't no liquor lights. They had lanterns in the trees.
Ah, okay. Okay. Y'all had a real wedding though.
Yeah, we had it at the house, in the yard.
Mm-hmm. Now,
And after we got married, I had all my suitcase packed, and we came on back to Terrell.
okay, they're all in one day.
Yeah.
Boy, that's
Got
my
back
Uncle
to
Mac.
Terrell
He
by
make it
12 or
happen.
1 o'clock that night.
Okay. And so Daddy rode back with you, and Grandmama, and you and Mac. Y'all
Yeah.
came all the way back, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And-
Now, was Dad still living? This is 1950. Was Daddy still living in Terrell at the time? When y'all got married, Daddy was already in Terrell. Is that
In
right?
Terrell, yeah, he lived in Terrell, but I can't even think where they had lived there.
Uh-huh. Okay, so he was already there, so that kind of puts us in Terrell in the early 50s, and
yeah.
that's where he was. And so soon after that, he and Mama moved to Dallas. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, all that's good information. Aunt Lily Mae, I just wanted you to share that with everybody, because so many I thought that was so funny and so clever of my grandmother to steam up the letter, open up the letter,
Yeah.
and then turn around and seal it back.
That's right.
She was all off in y'all
She
business.
knew how to do it, 'cause I said, well, how did you get the letters and seal them back? And he didn't know it. And she said, all I had to do was put a little water on there and put it up to the lamp light, and it come open. And she read it, she glued it right back. He never knew. She read all the letters that came in from LaGrange. She knew all the business. She showed it.
Well, I'll be doggone. Well, before I close this out, once again, I kind of just want to know what kind of person you knew my dad to be, and we all like to know just what kind of person he was in your mind.
Well, far as I know of Lawrence was really quiet, and he would always come by the house, and he would smile, and he didn't do too much talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He would mostly do smile, and you talk to him, he'll talk to you, and he just always, to my idea, he was the quietest one in the family that I knew.
Oh, okay. That's so many other grandkids never met him, and
well, Goldman, I knew Goldman well.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Was he involved in church? Was Daddy involved? No, Daddy.
Oh yes, he went to church. Yeah, on a Sunday, he had his Bible all the time. He'd go to
Okay.
church.
Okay.
As grandfather.
Okay. Well, listen, Aunt Lily, I'm glad that you shared that with us, and it's been a joy to sit here and just talk with you and listen to you kind of share some things with us, and we certainly appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we love you too.
Yeah. I always loved the family, and Mr. McCullough, your grandfather, he would always come by my house every Saturday. He would bring his Sunday school book, and I would have to read his Sunday school. He couldn't read. That McCullough, he couldn't read. But when I read that Sunday school lesson to him, he could go on Sunday and teach that Sunday school.
That's the way he did it.
Yeah.
That's the way he did it.
Yeah.
Well, I be doggone.
I had to read it to him, and he had it in his head. And I wonder how could he read it, but he could. He could teach that Sunday school lesson, and he would have to have a book.
And so what he'd do, he'd come by.
Come by every Saturday and bring a Sunday school book. And when I read that Sunday school book, his lesson to him, all he had to do go Sunday morning with his Bible in Sunday school and teach Sunday school.
Well, I'm doggone.
Yeah, every Sunday.
He had to do that. That just tells you right there. You can do what you want to do.
Yeah, they went to church.
Just put your mind to it. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
What fond memories. Uncle Lawrence, my dad, and I continued our search, and through that, more and more conversations came about.
She comes back, no records found. She comes back, no records found. What he did, he was a hard-working man. He comes back, followed a lot of different occupations as a young man.
One of my most
Provided for
favorite
his family.
moments from the trip
Spent a lot of time
was
with
when
his
I got
children.
to talk to Uncle
That
Lawrence
was all
about his
together through it all.
reflections
That's why
about
we all, and I thank
Grandpa
God
Lawrence.
for him because
He had
he
so
made
many good
sure that he
memories
was in
of
our
him,
lives.
and
I
it
remember
would
times that
be
I used to watch. He used to go shine shoes,
remiss
and
if
he
I
would
didn't
take us with
share
him
a little
sometimes.
bit
And that was
of
just
what he
extra money on
said
the side. And then
with
next
you
thing you
all.
know,
And then
so I
also,
feel like if you
it
look
helped
at it,
me
kind of
tie
look back and
into
reflect back on what
Grandpa
he had
Lawrence's
as a young
story, which
entrepreneur,
follows it.
providing for his family. And I mean, he could come home and sack of groceries and open it up and spread the food and start cooking. He could do all of that. He could cook. He was a cook. And even on that in that job, I remember when I was a young, probably could have been 11, 12 years old. He was moonlighting in different things, but his primary at that time was a short order cook. Now, do you know what a short order cook is?
They kind of cook the hash browns.
Yeah, yeah, that frying the hamburgers and flipping the bacon and all of that. I watched him do that, and he did it well. He did it well. And then he would probably on weekends go find something else to do. You know, maybe domestic yard care. He done some of that too. So I'm saying he was a hard-working man in my mind, and I thank God for him because he impressed me. He kind of shaped and molded me, knowing that you have to work by whatever means necessary. You have to provide for your family. Um, and he had not only us, nieces and nephews. They got a testimony for you too. All the shepherds and the Britons, and he'd ride by and he'd pick us all up sometime. Maybe not all of us up at one time. If he'll pick me and Robert Lee up, maybe me and Glendale up, or Marcellus or whoever. And there we go. We off to the races with him. He might take us out somewhere and clean up this building, and we had fun doing it. We didn't. Nobody ever said no.
Wow. Like I said before, such a great man. And that's why there were so many good memories about him. I never heard a negative thing about my grandfather. Not from my dad, not from my uncles, not from my aunt. That's because I think he really walked the talk. And he set an example for all of us how to be a great person and what worth ethic is and what it means to live your life well. And that's why I'm proud to be a McCullough. I'm proud to be the granddaughter of Annie, Lois, and Lawrence McCullough Sr. I'm proud to be the daughter of Reverend Dr. Victor and Nancy McCullough. I'm proud to be a cousin to so many, a niece to so many. I'm proud that I can say that Grandpa Lawrence was my grandfather, and I will always cherish his memory as I've learned so much about him through this process. And these memories will come with years of passing it down, hopefully, to my children about who Grandpa Lawrence was and what he did for us and why he's so loved and so cherished and why we are choosing to do this 100th anniversary celebration. He's loved and we loved him and love him and will never, ever forget him.